Ever heard of the saying, young ones are like wet cement, and whatever falls on them makes an impression? This video is not about cement, nor is it about young ones and their lives. Now, I'm drawing parallels to this comment because most of us growing up thought that we could accomplish anything regardless of what we face in life. But then we grew and reality hit harder than a brick. We were presented with obstacles of all shapes and sizes, but the most notorious one is racial discrimination. Whether you're an entertainer, content creator, or political leader, you've probably encountered this creature, and Abbott is one great example. The biggest donor for Tories, Frank Hester, made a racial comment about Abbott. Even though Hester claims that his comment wasn't based on racial grounds, he's received a lot of backlash on this. Shout out to Thomas Bishop for sparking this discussion. Let's take a look at some details on what went down, and we're gonna have a discussion about this afterwards.
The Conservative Party's biggest donor told colleagues that looking at Abbott makes you want to hate all black women, and said that the MP should be
unbelievable.
This is allegedly Frank Hester, who has given £10 million to the Tories in the past year, making him the party's biggest donor. He said in the meeting he did not hate all black women, but seeing Abbott, Diane Abbott, who is Britain's longest-serving black MP, on TV, meant you just want to hate all black women because she's there.
No, that's right. Let's not beat around the bush. That is... Now, why he gets public contracts, I do not understand.
We should make the point. He's had £400 million contracts from the NHS.
That's it. It should be over for him.
He's got some form of IT company.
If the Tory party wants to continue taking his dirty money, it can do it and face the consequences. But that is race. She, as you say, suffers more abuse than any other MP. She's 70. She lives in fear when she walks around the streets that somebody is whipped up by people like him is going to have a go at her. People are arrested for going after her.
Told colleagues that looking at Diane Abbott makes you want to hate all black women.
More of that uncomfortable truth y'all love so damn much. And there's a reason I stitched this part of that video. America has perfected its race. They have spread their virulent version of race around the world. But don't think they didn't learn it from somebody. Hi, Great Britain, I'm looking at you. Hi, how you doing? That's right. Where do you think they learned it from? Now, I get it. A lot of people would like to believe, especially the British monarchy, to be these, well-versed, upper crust, classy people. Come on, man. Come on. It's funny how many people, including Donald Trump, call places in Africa countries, because a little over 150, maybe 200 years ago, they wasn't saying that when they was exploiting the dog. Now, were they? Oh, act like I'm the only one that notices that. I know Belgians don't say a whole lot. I noticed that. Probably because Leopold has statues around it. Ask the Democratic Republic of Congo about King Leopold. But we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about the granddaddy of them all. There was a time that they said that the sun will never set on the British Empire. So you don't think that the Brits not only cultivated race, but didn't practice it all over the world? Of course they did. Of course they did. And thanks to having this, fashion wave of leaders, Viktor Orban, I would even say Boris Johnson to a certain extent, Donald Trump, Bolsonaro in Brazil. Thanks to these, we now have to deal with it again because stupid has come out of their woodwork. And I don't give up if they have a British accent or not. They're still racist. So see, what America did was they took that British race, brought it to the Americas, and then perfected it. And then, when they were a world power, or even before that, they just started to spread it all over the goddamn place. But that doesn't mean the Brits get off easy. No. Yes, the Brits did end slavery long before America did. It matters for not. It genuinely matters for not. Because the mindset's still there. Oh, it's been cloaked in some other shit. Boris Johnson calling women that wear burqas mailboxes. Okay, you can't even pick out a good hairstyle. You have all of the gall and 3 or 4 copies of the Audacity Gauntlet with all Audacity stones. You don't think that, seriously, you don't think this? The current conflict in the Middle East. Do you know why it's like this? Do you? Because the Brits wanted it that way. You know, American interests and British interests sound about the same. And they're willing to do the exact same level of bull. You know, MI5 or MI6, whatever their intelligence community in the sea, they have been responsible for putting their fingers in some places. And then you have this mega donor to the Tories saying it out loud. No, you don't. Seeing Diane Abbott does not make you want to hate all black women. Being a rich white man makes you want to hate all black women. I mean, can you be honest? Can you? And this is one of the things that my brother Outcast talks about all the goddamn time. It's one of the things he fights. It's an absolute truth. This mythical idea that, well, you know, the Brits are more enlightened than our little brother or little cousin across the pond. No, they're not. Because white supremacy goes all over the goddamn world. The problem now is the descendants of the masters of that white supremacy, they also want to be victims of the same that their forefathers spread out across the globe. There's a lot of hands involved in what's going on in the Middle East. A lot of hands. Not just America's. Not just. And the simple matter of it is, you had a group of people you didn't listen to in the first place. And then an atrocity happened to them. So to make up for it, AKA we're guilty, you put them someplace and you don't even take into consideration the people that are already there. You don't. You only want to hear from them when there's oil involved. That's why y'all kiss Saudi Arabia's at. But the average Arab on the street, y'all don't give a fuck about them. You don't. You think all of them are terrorists, especially after 9/11 and 7/7. Just be honest. But no, this racism that the Brits practice is only the more elegant version of the Americans practice over here. They don't get off scot-free. I'm sorry, they don't. I mean, look at what they said about the Irish. I mean, think about that. Now, I understand Gandhi's a goddamn self, but Winston Churchill wasn't really very happy about them. Now, were they? Again, you can see roots of all of this in all these large Western colonial powered governments. And it matters who sits in 10 Downing Street. It matters for not. Racism will bubble up. When they were talking about Brexit, which, by the way, Brexit was basically, we don't want no more immigrants in here. I know what y'all tried to pass it off for, but be honest. When Brexit was going on, John Oliver, a Brit, did that in an expose on it. And there was this white woman who was just like, I have no problem with Muslims. I do have a problem with black people. Duh, of course you do. Of course you do. So I don't ever want to hear a colonial Western power of any kind talk about the strides that they made. Because if there were strides, there would be less of this, not more. America's nasty, dirty history, we don't even want to talk about it. Even though German kids are learning about the Holocaust in third grade, second and third grade. Not America. And I'm pretty sure British students don't learn a whole lot about Britain's level of. wouldn't want the little white kids to feel bad. What is the British version of CRT? So I want you to go back and watch that whole video, please. I'm begging you to. But please understand, when we talk about race, when we talk about white supremacy, it's not just an American thing. It is a worldwide problem. Worldwide. I would even go so far as to say that there are countries who value lighter skin than darker skin. So, cheerio with that, huh?
Now, there's a comment that got me there where this brother, Thomas Bishop, said that even in other countries, they probably value people with lighter skins. That is true. We're talking about India, we're talking about communities, even here in Africa, to the point where the majority of our women and some men invest heavily in lightening creams that lighten up the skin, regardless of the implications that that has on the skin. We've been marginalized and oppressed to the point where we are willing to sacrifice our skin and our melanin just to feel more dominant than others in our own communities. A dominance that comes with a feeling of being admired and being regarded as special than others because of their darker skin colors. There are some ongoing debates online regarding the fight that has continued going on for ages, and melanated folks are at the center of this discussion. One perspective regarding this topic is that some advertisement companies might be getting paid to do adverts that promote interracial relationships. I don't know how true that is, but this perspective suggests that the agenda is to reduce the number of melanated people. The lesser melanated people are on the planet, the more palm-coloreds are there. And the more palm-coloreds are there, that means agendas and narratives that support them are going to be widely accepted in all communities all over the world. Just imagine it. If palm-coloreds are all over the world, even in African countries, that means that resources will not only be taken more excessively, but this phenomenon will be regarded as a normal thing. But how are they going to make this work? Through advertisement and the sending of subliminal messages. For example, I came across a Chinese ad about a washing detergent where they took a black man and put him in a washing machine, and after they added the detergent in the water, this person turned palm color. And after this woman saw this, she became excited. But before she put the man in the washing machine, she was looking unhappy and very disappointed. Now, this is to show you that black is unacceptable while palm color is accepted. Now, that is a subliminal message suggesting that black folks should lighten up their skin. And how are they gonna lighten up their skin exactly? Lightening products, of course, but that doesn't necessarily make you palm color. It's just the beginning of the effects of the subliminal messaging. And when you come across an interracial ad, maybe it's a palm color lady with a black man and two little cute bundles of joy, it further re-emphasizes to you that maybe the best way to do this is through interracial marriages. Now, this is not a biased comment against interracial marriages, but it's a noteworthy comment or perspective. Now, let's look at Frank Hester's comment on Diana Abbott. So he made this comment during a meeting at his company's headquarters. Some reports are suggesting that he made it in 2019 and The Guardian reported it in 2024, so I don't know how true that is. But the comment reads, "It's like trying not to be racist, but you see Diana Abbott on TV and you're just like, you just want to hate all black women because she's there. And I don't hate all black women, but I think she should be pew-pewed." Now, coming from a leader of a multi-million-dollar company, that is very alarming. And him being a multi-millionaire at the same time is concerning because imagine the shots that he can call if he really means that comment he made. And at the same time, I think they should make it mandatory in every country for any leader of a company or a political regime to be attending classes or to do a course on leadership. Because as a leader, you should be aware and conscious of the words you say and comments you make. Because you are a pioneer and people regard you as one who paves the way. You are to avoid comments that are racially biased or that are aimed at discrimination or are targeted at a specific group of people, because this comment was inconsiderate and insensitive. And after these racial comments were made, Diana Abbott started fearing for her own life. Now, this shows you that the words of millionaires and leaders of companies have far-reaching consequences that maybe they themselves cannot even grapple with. There is a letter that Diana Abbott wrote in 2023, which led to her suspension as MP. And that's the reason why I'm suspecting that this article suggesting that Mr. Hester made these racial comments in 2019 might be true. Diana Abbott, the MP for Hackney North, was suspended as a Labour MP pending an investigation into a letter she wrote about Ha.Te to the Observer. In the letter, which was published on Sunday, she made controversial remarks suggesting that The people of Is Not Real do not face Ha.Te, but instead suffer prejudice similar to redheads or other white individuals with points of difference. If Hester didn't make that comment in 2019, and if indeed he made it in 2024, then he might have done so in regard to Diana Abbot's stance on Ha.Te. In her letter, Diana Abbott responded to an article titled Ha.Te in Britain is not black and white. It's far more complicated. She argued that Irish and people that live in Is Not Real and traveler people undoubtedly experience prejudice, which she considered similar to Ha.Te. However, she asserted that they are not subject to Ha.Te or their lives, as people of color are. She referenced historical context, such as pre-civil rights America and the great phenomenon that took place in South Africa to support her claims. I hope you get what I mean when I say the great phenomenon that happened in South Africa. Now, when I was doing some research regarding whether Frank Hester is Jewish or not, I came across some intriguing insights that you might want to hear, so pay close attention. Frank Hester is actually Irish. You heard that right. But are you surprised? The letter prompted a lot of backlash, including criticism from the Board of Deputies of British Jews, which described it as disgraceful. Diana Abbott later apologized, stating that errors arose in an initial draft that she sent. She acknowledged that Jewish people have suffered the effects of Ha.Te along with Irish people, travelers, and others. If you're not seeing the irony here, let me tell you, these people that this letter targeted, being a black woman, they wanted to put her in her place. She is from a marginalized community, and on top of that, they don't feel she deserves that position of MP. I don't know if you're getting where I'm getting at. Frank Hester, being the biggest donor of Tories, felt obligated to make that comment because he feels he's in a higher position than her. She wrote a letter in 2023 about Irish people, and he so happens to be Irish. Therefore, it's not a coincidence that the biggest donor for Tories fired back at her. The Labour Party swiftly condemned her comments as deeply offensive and wrong. As a result, the chief whip suspended Diana Abbott from the Labour Party whip, pending an investigation. This suspension means that she will now sit as an independent MP in the House of Commons. And that's how we got where we are today. Now, even though this biggest donor for Tories is facing a lot of backlash, I think they're just doing this for formality's sake, because a lot of these people were really offended by the letter that Diana Abbott wrote back in 2023. And even though they suspended her, they felt that this punishment wasn't enough for a person such as herself. And if there's one thing that I've learned today is that always be that young lad with a big dream. Because just like Diana Abbott, you can break through any marginalization or oppression. And that concludes our discussion today. Please leave your thoughts regarding this discussion in the comment section, and we'll be sure to read them through. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next video. Signing off. Goodbye.